My name is Chris Kosizi Strawn. In 2017, I took my first trip to the Congo with my nonprofit Kicking It for a Cause. It opened my eyes to the people and cultures of Africa, and I fell in love. Bridging my love of sports, I'm now on a mission to show the world what makes African athletes so unique. Join me on my journey around the world as I sit down with your favorite Africans in sports. On this episode of Africans in Sports, we take you to Portland, Oregon to talk with Trailblazer small forward Al-Farouq Aminu. Since coming into the league in 2010, he's had a dope NBA career, played for the Nigerian National Team, and is now working to provide health and educational support for underserved communities in Africa.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Africans in Sports. I'm your host, Chris Kosizi Strawn, and today we got a super special guest, my man, the Chief, Al-Farouq Aminu.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's going on, bro?
Glad to be here, man. Appreciate it.
Man, it's beautiful out here in Portland. It's never like, from what I understand, it's never like this.
Never,
right?
Yeah. I took my daughter out today. It was nice.
Oh, right?
Yeah, it's a nice day.
That's what's up, man. That's how I knew that today was going to be a special day, man.
Yes.
Now, everybody knows about everything that you've done in basketball, from the Wake Forest days to your days at Norcross. Yeah. But I rarely hear them talk about your Nigerian roots. I really wanted to dive into that.
Right. Yeah, man. My dad's Nigerian. My mom is from New York. But my heritage on my Nigerian side, even my mom's into it a lot. Like, she wears the African prints and different things like that. And growing up, you know what I mean, they always wanted to make sure that I knew that side of me. So I always had a connection with it. We used to go to, like, African parties growing up, different things like that. And it's just always been a part of me. And as I've gotten older, it's been refreshing to be able to play for my national team. And it's also given me the opportunity to go back to Nigeria. And then now, like, I go back every summer. So it's like, it's just a part of what I, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, every day, sort of say. So it's kind of cool, man. And hopefully this summer, my brothers are going to be able to go back as well, so they can see all the different things that my grandfather, you know, laid down for us and different things like that. And then kind of what we're doing now. So it's kind of like the past and the future meeting.
That's dope. Run through your family for me. How many brothers and sisters do you have? Like, give me the whole story of the family. What's going on over there?
That's 3 years older than me, and then also got a younger brother who's at North Florida, and he's about 8 years younger than me, and he just finishing up school, and run down to them two. They both play basketball. My brother, he plays overseas. He's been playing overseas, and been pro for like 10 years now. This is 9 years for me. He went pro 1 year before me, and he also went to Georgia Tech. So he's doing a lot of cool things, and he does a lot of nonprofit things, and he does it more so in Atlanta, and that's kind of why. I mean, obviously Atlanta's my home as well. So because he was doing stuff in Atlanta, I figured let me take on stuff in Nigeria, kind of play back off of each other, and then it's like now we're gonna kind of like switch a little bit, where he's gonna try to do a little bit more in Nigeria, and I'm gonna try to do a little more in Atlanta.
I love it. What type of stuff is going on in Nigeria?
Well, we do a foundation, actually. The foundation that we have is about empowering. That's kind of like the thing that was key to us, and we felt like we didn't want to be a nonprofit that just gives stuff to people, you know what I mean? I felt like it ended up becoming like entitled when that happens, and we didn't want that to be the case. So we felt like it would just be better off giving people what they need in order to succeed. So it's kind of like teach somebody how to fish. So with the nonprofit that we do like a camp right now, and we have like the top kids in the country come and get their skills and improve them and different things like that. And hopefully from opportunities, we have scouts that are like with NBA Africa and different things like that. So if they're of the level, they can come to South Africa, or they can go to a college or different things like that and make a way for themselves. So that's kind of how we've been going about it thus far. And then the next phase will be to do like an academy, so the kids could be able to work and do everything that they need to do. Like, we felt like if they had an academy, I felt like when I was young, and if I wanted to get in the gym at all times, I could get in there. And that's when you really get to hone in on your skills. And I feel like a lot of kids there, they just don't have that access to a good gym. You know what I mean? Like, most of them are playing on outdoor courts, so if it rains, they can't play. If it's too hot, they can't play. If it's, you know what I mean? All these different conditions that are stopping them. And then it's like, I felt like if they had a good gym, they would just they will go to work in there because they really love the game.
Of course.
Yeah.
And getting it from somebody like you doing your thing and seeing you and hearing you, like, that's a huge deal, man.
Yeah, agreed.
I love to hear that, man. I'm a big nonprofit guy myself. I got my stuff going on.
Right.
I take it over to Africa myself. So, like, to hear that, you as a younger dude, too, doing that, that's big time.
Yeah.
I wanted to know more about what you guys have going on in Atlanta, too.
My brother, he kind of does underprivileged youth. He does camps as well. Kids come out. It's just supposed to be like a fun day for them where they get to come out, experience a good time. Sometimes they get their haircuts. They get them some food. They play. They have fun. Just a good day to have for the kids and everything like that.
Yeah, that's big time. They need that.
Yeah. Then also he likes to teach. My brother's big into the finance world, sort of say. So he likes to teach the kids. So he brings somebody out from like Merrill Lynch or something like that, and bring them out there in order to teach the kids financial, independence and everything like that. And then also he wants to bring somebody out from like the health component, because my mom actually is like a wellness coach, so she brings somebody like my mom's expertise and teach them, how to eat right, how to spirituality, different things like that, in order to so that it's kind of like all three systems. It's like physical with the basketball and everything like that. And then there's finance, that's your mind, and then like the spiritual, so to say. So it's kind of like all three parts.
The Aminu family doing big things,
Man,
from
we try.
Atlanta all the way to what?
Yeah.
Y'all killing it.
Man, we try.
So were you born in Nigeria or were you born and raised in Atlanta?
I was born and raised in Atlanta.
Okay.
Spent my whole life there. Stone Mountain. Grew up on the east side. All my family pretty much lived there. Then for high school, I went to Norcross because it was just a better school. My mom felt like it was just appropriate. You know what I mean? I wasn't the best at grades and different things like that. So she wanted me to go to a school where I could get a little more attention or whatever the case might be. And I went to the Norcross for like high school. And then same thing. So yeah. So born and raised in Atlanta, and then I didn't get to go to Nigeria probably till I was like maybe 21, 22 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
You said you weren't the best in grades.
Yeah.
I know my African families.
Yes.
And they don't play when it comes to the grades.
Exactly.
How was that in your house?
It was hard, man. They thought, you know what I mean? They just thought, like, I don't know, maybe I was rebellious or whatever. And I was talking, it's funny as you say that. I was talking to my dad, like, the other day. And he was like, man, looking back at it, I might be should have got you, like, help or whatever the case might be. You know what I mean? Because nowadays, mental health is, like, talked about and everything like that. ADD, people understand it and everything like that. But like you said, at the time, my parents being so old-fashioned, they were just like, do better. You know what I mean? And it was like, now they kind of understand that maybe when it comes to like when it like even to the day, like it's like detailed things, like things that are very like, like reading or whatever the case might be. I just space out, so to say. So it's not like I'm not smart or whatever the case might be. It's just that certain things I don't, and especially if I don't have no passion, because what happened actually in the 7th grade, probably one of the, like in a sense, like worst years of my life, because it's just like, I grew up on the east side, so stuff could happen or whatever the case might be. And my dad, because my grades were low, he was like, there's no way he's gonna get to play. So that year was just like a struggle, you know what I mean? Just doing a lot of different things. And then it was in the 8th grade, he was like, well, he's not gonna be able to make the grades anyway, you know what I mean? So just try to let him play. And I didn't realize that you had to have good enough grades in order to play. And then ever since then, that's how I got my grades. So it's just that I kind of needed, motivation in order to do my schoolwork. So I felt like, basketball really is the reason.
Basketball really brought it around for you.
Man, all the way.
So was there ever a pushback in basketball or you playing basketball? Because I know those families don't really like sports that much. So.
For sure. I still remember my brother washing dishes rather than going to a game before. I still remember, having to ride my own bike to go to practice, just high school practice or whatever the case might be. And then eventually, like I said, after my dad saw, okay, once I started playing basketball, I started getting better grades. I started, focusing more. I started, getting out of trouble, different things like that. He kind of saw, okay, he needs it almost in a sense, you know what I mean, in order to, drive him. That's his passion. So, everything kind of plays off of that. So I think him seeing that, he just kind of started being open up to it to more. And it's so funny now. He's like, man, I wish I would have had more kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like all of us was able to go to school for free because of it. Everything like that. It kind of opened his eyes to what sports is. You know?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy, man. Sports being the driving force. I try to tell kids all the time how important it is to learn about life.
Yeah.
If you were to speak to any young Nigerian kids right now and they have the parents giving that pushback, what would you tell their parents?
I would tell them, let them explore. You know what I mean? Let them try to see if they're good at these sports, different things like that. Because, like I said, I just went to school for free. No student loans, you know what I mean? My mom and dad both know about student loans. And just off of that alone, they would tell you it's a good idea, you know? And every kid's not going to be an A, B student, you know what I mean? It's just the reality of the world, you know?
Right.
And if they're good at a sport and they can go to, like I said, to school for free, that's half the battle. And you're still going to make all those different connections. You're still going to go to that same school. You're just going to have a different way to go about it. So don't knock the way that, you know what I mean, that kid, that gift, or whatever the case might be. Just because you only have this singular idea about how to go about it. And it's the same thing with, you know, a lot of things that are not just becoming like a doctor or a lawyer. There's art, different things like that kids are talented at. And it's like, because it doesn't seem traditional, doesn't mean that you can't become no millionaire. Doesn't mean that you can't become everything that the kid wants to become.
Yeah, man. That's why what you have going on the nonprofit side of things is so important, because you get to use that platform and tell them that. That's dope.
Exactly.
Super dope.
Yeah, so that's that's obviously why we do the basketball portion of it. Like I said, I wanted to empower the kids, and if the whole thing just breeded kids just going to school, I'd be happy. You know what I mean? Because that's empowering yourself. You know, you do 4 years. At the end of the day, you got a degree and you're able to like start working or whatever the case might be. That's a job well done in my eyes. You know what I mean? Going pro is cool as well. You know what I mean? You could do that as well. But at the end of the day, if you have education, and especially a high level, you know what I mean, education that you get from these schools, I mean, you set on the right way. And then also another facet of what we're going to eventually do is, because I feel like it's kind of like athletes or whatever, artists. So artistry and different things like that, like kids that are into music, kids that are into drawing, different things like that. I want them to be able to take their passion and do more with that as well. So eventually we want to add in that portion of it as well, as empowering them. And we're thinking about doing like a gallery or whatever the case might be.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's you know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing. Like, I just saw it for myself. It's like I was into art and I was into sports. You know what I mean? I was into the stuff that's like more creative and more like people don't see it as a lawyer or a doctor. So it's like, oh, he's not going to be successful. You know what I mean? Growing up in an African family, and it's like, because I am now what somebody would deem as successful, it's like I want to make sure that I focus on the people that were like me when I was younger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Huge deal, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Take me back to the young days in Atlanta when you're growing up. You're in Atlanta, you're in America, but I'm sure your parents were raising you as Nigerians, the same way that they grew up.
Yeah.
How was that? You and your two brothers in the house. How was that?
Yeah, it was funny, man. You know, you just think that like this one scenario is just so unique or whatever the case might be. But like I said, Atlanta is so diverse. I was meeting other Nigerians and different things like that, and realizing, man, they growing up just like I am, and it was cool to see that. And I remember we going, like I said, to African parties and different things like that, and I felt like there where I got to see, you know, just other kids in our culture so heavily. You know what I mean? And I felt like that was really cool growing up in that environment like that, and I feel like I'm cultured because of that, you know. And my parents weren't scared to travel and different things like that, so traveling became a big part of what I do as well. So it's just kind of nice, and you get to pick. I feel like when you get to travel, you get to pick and choose and realize that there's other ways to go about living, and I'm appreciative of that for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. But traveling is a huge deal, man. It rounds you out so much as an individual.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta make it to Nigeria. Speaking of
yes. Tell me when.
Tell
me when.
For real, I'm not playing, bro.
I'm dead serious. Tell me when, man.
We're gonna do it one summer soon.
Nigeria's nice.
I hear. It's the biggest African country, right?
I don't know in the sense of size, but like economically, it's us and South Africa. So like Lagos is like comparative, it'd be like a New York, and then there's Abuja, which is like the capital. So I say let's go to like Lagos, and you'll have a great time.
What's the dopest part about Lagos?
The nightlife, probably.
Yeah,
nightlife.
Turn up a little bit.
Yeah. And then they got like beaches and stuff like that, so you could chill as well. But I mean, you'll have a great time for sure.
Okay, what kind of food you gonna put me onto? Cause I had some what's it called?
Pepper soup. Oh, suya.
Suya.
Suya is a street, like kind of like a barbecue.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Fire.
So that like where my dad is actually from in Nigeria, it's called Ibadan. It's about like 2 hours, kind of what is that, west or whatever. And that's where like everybody knows that like in Nigeria, that's the best suya. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's where it's from. So like that's a good spot, and that I do that. It's funny if you the guy that comes with my agent and everything like that, he still talks about it today. His name Trailblazer. He's always like, man, we got to go back to get the suya. Like it's legendary.
I need that.
Yeah. And then there's also like eba, you eat with your hands, and then there's soup, and then there's like pepper soup, different things like that. But you have to be ready for spice though.
Oh yeah, I'm Jamaican, so like any type of spice, I need it all.
All right, bet.
What's your favorite food though?
I'll probably say eba. You know
what
what
is
I mean?
that?
It's like a kind of like almost in a sense like mashed potatoes, but it's like it's not though. But it's like it's yams. It's actually made out of yams, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's made out of yam. And you kind of like just pick at it and you use the soup. But the soup is like the base for like a lot of stuff. And you could use it on the rice. You could use it on that. You could use it on some different stuff. But yeah, that. And then maybe I like plantain and stuff like
me
that.
Too.
Yeah, exactly.
Me too.
Yeah.
That Jamaican side, we love that right there.
Yes.
Hold up. So is wifey cooking all of this, the Nigerian stuff at home?
She is actually. My dad actually taught her how to make the soup, and she makes it a little different because she's super health conscious. But it's still good though. You know what I mean? Like it's just, you don't want to have the I think it's called a little Maggie cubes because that's like MSG and stuff like that. So I do want to start educating people that are not in Nigeria as well, like just being more health conscious or whatever. I feel like that movement hasn't started yet. You know what I mean? They kind of like probably where we were at like maybe like 20 years ago in the sense of like not understanding what you eat and what you put on your body and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's for y'all to do. Y'all about to put them on.
Yeah, for sure. I can
see that happening.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce your name?
Al-Farouq Aminu.
And that means the chief has arrived.
Not necessarily. Actually, my name, where the chief has arrived is my given name. It's an Aloye Day. So that's a Nigerian name, and it means the chief has arrived. I just didn't correct nobody. Cause, you know what I mean? I don't always have to spell it out. But my name is like your given name when you when you're born or whatever the case might be. And that's Aloye Day. And that's what means the chief has arrived.
Wow.
Yep.
How do you use that name today? 24 years old, right?
Yeah. No, 28.
28?
Yes.
I'm tripping. My bad.
All good.
28 years old.
Yes.
How are you using that name to make an impact today?
Actually, I use that particular name for design. So I'm into design now. I feel like that's what I'll probably get into like for the second phase. Basketball is going to stop one day. And I'm into design, and I kind of figured that out, thankfully, to the NBA. All the internships and different things like I've been able to dive into. I've been able to find out that I have another passion outside of basketball, which I never thought might be the case. And I use it for that, like in architecture, and then also into clothing and different things like that. So that's how I'm using it for sure.
You have that up and running yet?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm doing it or whatever the case might be, but I don't have anything that I feel is appropriate to start showing yet. So it's just kind of working on it in my own sense, and then eventually stuff like collaborations or whatever the case might be that I want to do, like fashion wise or whatever. Hopefully they'll start coming out within the next year. So
yeah. I know a lot of my Nigerians are very fashion forward. Are you gonna have some type of influence, some type of Nigerian influence in your work?
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just evidence because it's who I am. You know what I mean? Like every part of me is obviously like being from Atlanta. Then also, like I said, my dad and everything like that, being from Nigeria, it's just everything I do is always going to have that. It can't not have it, for sure.
Okay. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
You speak any other languages?
I wish.
Nah.
I wish, man. I always mad at my dad, man. He never really taught me or whatever. But I still want to try to learn, and I want my daughter to learn. But I'm glad that English is, like, almost in a sense, like the first language in there. But I still do want to try to learn, for sure.
You gotta learn, man. So you can understand it, but you can't speak it.
No, I can't understand it.
You can't understand it either?
I don't know anything. I don't know anything.
So your parents never speak it at home?
Yeah, my dad never spoke it, man. He, I think what it was, when he's coming over here, he's trying to better his English. So he's not really necessarily thinking, like, when I'm at home, let me only speak that, because then now his English wouldn't be up to par. So I think he was, in a sense, trying to learn English at the time. Even though he knew it, but, even his accent, because sometimes, the accent's so heavy you can't really understand them.
Yeah.
So I think he was trying to work on that, and he didn't ever think. And, you know, usually the mom, and my mom is from New York, so she didn't know it either. So usually the mom is the one that teaches the kids. You know what I mean? So it just, I feel like that's probably why we didn't learn it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So how do you stay connected to your Nigerian roots?
I go back every summer.
Summer.
Yeah, I have to go back every summer. It's just natural as well. Like, I have a lot of family, and if you know, Atlanta has tons and tons of Nigerians. So I have a lot of family in Nigeria. In Atlanta, as well as Houston, and I just stay connected in that way. And then also I just stay connected in keeping up with like Nigerian artists, different things like that. And it's kind of like how I keep up with the posts. And the world is small now too, man. So it's kind of like
media.
Yeah, exactly. You'll think that, you know, Nigeria is so different, but it's like, it's really kind of like I said, like maybe like a New York, just a little different, you know, for sure.
Take me back to your first trip to Nigeria, 21 years old. Give me the dopest experience when you made that trip.
It was with my older brother. We was with the national team. We were kind of in and out on that one. And it was surreal just being there. Like, right when we get out the airport, it's hectic. It's like, you see, like, you know, everything, you know, your senses is just awakened to like everything that's going on around you and everything like that. And then I just remember the traffic. It was just unreal. And then the way that they drove and different things like that. And I remember people driving on the other side. And I think that's the biggest takeaway I took away from it. And it was kind of cool. At one point, being from the States, everything is so structured. So, like, if you know, even if it's 3 o'clock at night and there's a red light, you're going to wait on that red light.
Yeah,
like,
they're not
doing
that.
It's just never going to happen. You know what I mean? It's like people use more so, like, I don't want to say common sense, but common sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, if it's late and nobody there, they'll look twice and go. And it's like, I kind of like that about it. It was just like, you don't see people, if somebody's bigger than you, you won't just step on their shoe and say, you know what I mean? Like, you say sorry, you know what I mean? Because it's just like the law of the world, almost in a sense, is applied, not necessarily just what is on the books and papers and stuff like that. So I thought that was mad cool. And it's kind of like, what I took from that was like thinking for yourself. You know what I mean? It's like, I think a lot of people do that there. And it's like, that's why you see so many educated, and people say that there. They like, man, if you can make it in Lagos, you can make it anywhere. Yeah. Because it's just like,
New York, like
you have to be, exactly. You have to be on top of your game. And I feel like every time I go there, I come back and I'm like sharper. I'm like more aware and different things like that. And like, you know, you hear about Nigerians being, you know what I mean, deceitful at times or whatever the case might be. But then again, I mean, if you was to go online and could figure out a way to get, you know, $10,000 out of somebody, I think a lot of people would. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if that's necessarily, you know what I mean? Like, if I told you,
trying to come up.
If I told you a good story and you gave it to me, I'm not saying that it's the rightest way, but you know what I mean? It's just like, that's how they think. And they like, what fool would ever do that? You know what I mean? And they like, man, they so naive there. Let's you know what I mean? Let's get them. And it's like, yeah, so, you know, you're definitely going to be sharper getting out of that.
Okay,
yeah.
I like that. That's the home cooking, like, building you up right there.
Yes.
I can definitely see that.
Yes.
What would you say is the biggest misconception of Nigerians?
Probably that scammer thing,
Uh-huh.
you know what I mean? A lot of good Nigerians out there. Like I said, I mean, obviously they're opportunistic. I mean, that's what happens in poverty no matter what, you know what I mean? I've seen that in Atlanta. I've seen that everywhere I've been, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're deprived, you're going to... you might use tactics that you normally wouldn't if you wasn't. So
by any means.
That part of it. And then I don't know any other kind of, I guess in a sense, big misconceptions pretty much.
So what would you say is the strongest thing about Nigerians, the best thing?
Just how smart they are, man. It's kind of hard to find a Nigerian that's not on it, to be honest, man. True. So I mean, a lot of times you'll see in the top industries of a lot of, you know, doctors, lawyers, you know what I mean? Like it was exactly what my dad wanted me to do too. But you see them at the top, and it's like they really are that smart. And you're thinking to yourself, man, if you work hard, everybody will be that smart. But it's like that's not necessarily the case, man. Sometimes some people are just a little smarter. Sometimes people jump a little higher. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. Some people are talented when it comes to that, and I feel like Nigerians really are kind of, in a sense, talented when it comes to like being smart.
Yeah, intelligent people.
Yeah, exactly.
So with the pushback originally, with them wanting, like, they wanted you to be a doctor and a lawyer, but you became this dope ball player.
Yeah.
How is it now? What is it like today?
Oh, they love it, man. Like I said, my dad wish he had more kids. You know what I mean? Like both his kids are self-sufficient, everything like that. Both my parents don't work no more. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe even if I'm a doctor, they not at that point. You know what I mean? So they like,
that's true.
they can't believe it. You know what I mean? Like the
dope.
last time we went back to Nigeria, he just in Raven, and when he went and did a speech to the camp, and he's like, man, I tell y'all kids firsthand, I didn't believe in sports like that, but I 100% believe in it now. 100%. So my parents are extremely happy about what I'm doing with my life.
That's dope, man. Oh, did you play any other sports growing up?
I played baseball a little bit, but not really.
Okay.
I always wanted to play football, but my parents wouldn't let me play.
The scared you was gonna get hurt.
Yeah, yeah, I was skinny.
So it was just straight basketball for you.
Yeah, exactly.
What age did you start playing ball?
3 years old. Actually, it was on
wow.
accident. So they thought it said baseball tryouts, and got there. Then they was like, "Why is the gym? Why we going into the gym to sign up?" And it was like these basketball tryouts, this basketball season or whatever, because it was during the school year. So they were trying to find something that we could do in order to like kill up some free time. During the summers, we usually at like my grandma's house, stuff like that. So that's probably why basketball actually, because of what season it in, they thought to like let me start trying to play it or whatever the case might be. And then they was just like, whatever, like it's something to do. And they realized that we liked it. Then they started noticing, I think they're tall. And then it just was a domino effect. It was meant to be type thing.
Crazy. Wait, so were you always tall?
In a sense, I mean, yeah, for sure. In a sense, you know what I mean? I wasn't like freakishly tall or whatever the case might be. But you know, like, you know, when you go to the doctor and they say, oh, he's in the top. Exactly. I was always like in the top, you know, 95 percentile or something like that for my height, yeah.
Was the doctor right? Did he say he was going to be 6'9"? What was his prediction?
I don't think he ever predicted anything. Okay. He just always used to say, like, you're in the top percentile for sure.
Yeah. When did you know that you wanted to be a professional athlete? Or when did you realize that I can be a professional athlete?
That was in the 9th grade. So, no, actually, sorry, like in the 10th grade. And in the 9th grade, me and my friend, his name Howard Tompkins, we went to this private school, and we were playing and everything like that. And I used to see him train and stuff like that. And I thought it was kind of awkward, like, man, we just finished practice, and you gonna do some more shooting and stuff like that, and you're not tired, you know what I mean? But like I said, sports wasn't like that big in my family, so it was just like looking at it as just an average kid, you know what I mean? I'm like, wow, why are you doing extra stuff afterwards? Like, go to home, you know?
Yeah.
And then I remember I ended up transferring schools. And then that summer, he became like #1 in the state, top 10 in the country, everything like that. And I'm like, man, usually the kids that's top 10 in the country, #1 in the state, because how Lou Williams just came out, he was #1 in the state.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard just came out. He was #1 in the state. Josh Smith came out. You know what I mean? He was like top in the state. And it was like, man, dude's going to the league off of that. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, me and him used to play every day. And like, not to say, you know what I mean? But I used to be
nicer than him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, we used to go back and forth. Like, he'll win one, I'll win one. I was like, man, I should really take a real strong, you know, try at this. You know what I mean? And that's when I started like working on my game and stuff like that. So I just kind of like, in a sense, because he had a pops who played, you know what I mean? I think he actually maybe made it to like a NBA tryout or something like that. Like he had a great career overseas. So like he was really good at playing basketball. So he already knew what to do exactly with his son. So I started picking from him. Like, all right, let me do everything he was doing. That how he, and first of all, even got to the top. You know what I mean? Slot or whatever the case might be. And then that's when I started really working on my game.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you've been in the NBA, you've been in a few teams, you had the privilege of being in a few different cities.
Yeah.
Which city do you think had the best Nigerian food?
Not LA.
Yeah.
No, LA got the most variety out of all of the places that I've been. New Orleans wasn't gonna have. I don't think.
New Orleans food is the best here though. Would you say that?
I don't know. I haven't tried New Orleans food here.
New Orleans. I mean, no. In New Orleans, I think it's the best food in the country.
Oh. See, I don't eat pork, so you know, a lot of stuff is made with like gumbo and stuff like that. You know what I mean, like sausage, and I don't eat like shellfish either. So
right.
a lot of their food is with that.
Yep,
so it's like
true.
That cancels out a lot of stuff. It cancels out a lot of stuff for me. So I eat in the house a lot, but the couple places that I do go, it's been amazing. So I don't want to discredit New Orleans, obviously.
I feel you.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll say LA. Obviously for Nigerian food. Yeah.
What spot would you go to?
It was just a little hole in the wall spot, man. I wouldn't even know the name, man. It was just a spot that somebody put me on to when I was out there. Got a couple friends that's from LA, so I used to just go there with them. You know what I mean? You just riding, so you're not even looking where you at. Yeah, exactly.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Do you have anything that you would eat before games, or like something Nigerian, some type of food that kind of gets you going? Nah. What is it for you before a game?
It's random, whatever my wife cooks, man. Okay. Yeah. I'm not like superstitious or particular, or whatever the case might be, about necessarily what I eat like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take me to the Nigerian National Team. Like, what does that mean for you to play for that team and to represent the country?
I mean, it's the closest thing that you can get to, I guess, in the sense of like to represent your country. Only other way, and I'm not really no fighter like that, is, you know what I mean, join the army or something like that. So this is the best way I know how to. And also I feel like it builds the awareness for basketball in Nigeria as well. You know, soccer is obviously football or whatever the case might be, is the #1 sport. But I felt like, you know, I wanted to also kids to start taking note or taking heed to basketball. So we're playing with the national team. I just felt like it was a little more unique as well. You know what I mean? Also, I could play with my brother, different things like that. And then just playing up through basketball or whatever the case might be, I met a lot of cool Nigerian Americans, and it's like, man, we all kind of looked at each other and was like, man, we could do something special there. Not to say that playing for the U.S. might not have been special as well, but it just was, it just hit a little more home for us to play for Nigeria. I don't know why, you know what I mean? Just we felt a stronger connection with Nigeria, so we just banded together and we was like, man, we can make history, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what we did, for sure.
That's dope. To be playing with your brother is amazing. Like,
yeah. We never played together. Even though he's only 3 years older than me, like I said, my mom wanted me to go to a different school for high school, because she used to be at that school, actually. She used to work at Stevenson and kind of saw how the school was kind of, in a sense, deteriorating or whatever the case might be. So she knew already I wasn't doing that great with school. The school was already kind of...
Didn't even have it.
Exactly. So she, you know, moved me. Yeah. And then I didn't get to play with him for that. And then in college, he was at Georgia Tech, and my dad and everybody felt like, man, you got to make your own name, so to say. So then I went to another school for that. So it's like we never got to play together. So it's been cool.
That's dope,
to finally play.
Yeah, just wearing that across your chest, your brother, last name on the back, like, come on,
it's
don't
legendary.
Get no better than that.
Yeah, it's legendary, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So with your little daughter, do you keep the Nigerian tradition going with her?
Yeah, for sure. She comes with me when I go to Nigeria. I want her to learn the language. You know, it's easier to learn that language when you're at that age.
That's true.
I try to do as much as I can, food-wise, different things like that. And then also just having her around her family. You know what I mean? I feel like that's probably the biggest way to do it, just having her around the family. And I feel like all the stuff that just starts naturally coming up because you just interwound in it, and like I said, just keep going back and different things like that. She'll definitely know her culture for sure. Yeah.
What's your favorite part of the culture?
Maybe the braggadocious, even though I'm not necessarily like that or whatever the case might be. I mean, they like the #1 consumer in Dom Perignon, they #1 consumer in Louis the 13th or something like that. Like, Nigerians are known for being a little eccentric or something like that. Like, there's also a culture of like spraying money, where like, let's say it was a wedding or whatever the case might be, somebody have a whole bunch of dollars and they like press it on the person's forehead, and they like, I remember as a kid running up trying to take the dollars and stuff like that. It was crazy. So it's just like, there's this real like, I don't want to say bragg, but like confidence, you know what I mean? That's in the culture, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, got everybody I meet from Nigeria just has a strong personality to them. You can feel like sitting right here from you, like strong, intelligent dude right here. I can just feel it. I always feel that, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited for your daughter to get that in her too, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be super dope.
For sure.
Music. Who's your favorite African artist?
I'll say Davido and Mr. Easy.
I don't think I heard of them. What songs would I know from them?
Davido has a song called Fall, and that's probably crossing over to the States or whatever the case might be. He also has some other songs or whatever the case might be. And then Mr. Easy, I think he's big in London or whatever the case might be. He has a song called Pour Me Water. It's like, it's just a perfect song. It's just a perfect song, yeah.
You incorporate that with your pregame? Or you keep it 21 Savage, you keep it Atlanta?
Nah, yeah. Yeah, I do keep it pretty Atlanta, but I listen to a lot of stuff, man. I sometimes don't even listen to music before a game, so it's nothing in particular, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Are there any projects that you got working on right now that you want to share and let people know how to get to them? Like with the nonprofit or the clothing line, or what's going on with you today that you want to plug?
Nah, I don't have any pretty much plugs or whatever the case might be. I do have a project music-wise that I'm working on. I just got to mix and master. I got to find the right engineer and everything that to work
You rapping?
I do beats. You know what I mean? I'm more of a producer, but I do verses at times for sure. Okay. I wouldn't say I'm rapping though. Yeah. I'm more of a producer.
More on the production
first.
side.
Yeah. It's just like if you heard Pharrell, you wouldn't say, oh, he's rapping. You just know that he just did something.
Yeah.
It's like fun for him or whatever the case might be. So more of a producer first and foremost, but then I do jump on sometimes.
So fun. Music is your getaway from ball.
Yeah, for sure. Like I remember I picked up music, and my mom used to always tell me this, like, you got to have other things you like other than basketball, because I used to be just 24/7 basketball. And then when it came to like joining the NBA, and then it's like, man, basketball is everything now. It's like, it's just too overbearing.
Yeah, that's true.
You need something to kind of get away from it now. Yeah. It's like, at first you wanted it to be your whole life. Then when you realize it is your whole life, you're like, wow, it's too emotional of a roller coaster, especially with 82 games.
Right.
So then that's how I kind of picked up producing. So, yeah.
Wow. You're a super interesting dude, man.
I appreciate it.
You got so many dope things going on. I want to get involved on the nonprofit side. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. We definitely going to talk about that. Cool. And if you guys want to know more, it's AminuGoodWorks.org. Check them out. Al-Farouq Aminu of the Portland Trailblazers. This is Africans in Sports. We out of here, baby.
Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Africans in Sports. Don't forget to check out our other videos. And like and subscribe, because we're hitting you with all of the dope interviews with your favorite African athletes right here on Africans in Sports.